heavy hearts on the 7th Rohingya Genocide Remembrance Day. 7 years ago, the Myanmar military junta committed genocide against the Rohingya people after a long period of persecution. As a result, tens of thousands of Rohingya were massacred, and hundreds of thousands were displaced from their homes and became refugees. Yet, even after several years, no one has been held accountable for this atrocious crime against humanity. Far from receiving redress as victims and a safe return home with guaranteed citizenship, the Rohingya people are gradually being forgotten in the face of a delayed justice. The tragedy of that day is far from over. In fact, it is being repeated under the apathetic response of the international community, including the South Korean government. Rohingya people remaining in Myanmar continue to suffer from exploitation and discrimination. And as the civil war between the Myanmar military junta and the Arakan army, an armed Rakhine ethnic group, intensifies, they are being pushed to the brink by indiscriminate attacks from both sides, now involving heavy weaponry. It is estimated that thousands of Rohingya civilians have already been killed or injured in the Booth-Didong and Mongdo townships of the Rakhine state. This is a blatant violation of international humanitarian law, which mandates that civilians must be protected, not targeted. Furthermore, testimonies of genocide, including arson, indiscriminate shootings, and beheadings of Rohingya by the Arakan army, have emerged as the Myanmar junta's forced conscription of Rohingya has fueled mistrust, fear, and hatred between the Rakhine and Rohingya communities. While the number of Rohingya fleeing to Bangladesh for safety is increasing, they are unable to find refuge due to the Bangladesh government's refusal to accept additional refugees and the closure of the border. Rohingya refugees who have barely made it into the camps are facing uncertainty regarding their refugee status and access to humanitarian aid, which puts their survival at a risk. Rohingya refugees who have fled to Bangladesh are also facing a severe humanitarian crisis in the refugee camps. They are struggling to survive in harsh conditions due to the rapidly decreasing financial support from the international community each year. With no clear solutions such as guaranteed citizenship upon return or resettlement opportunities, the number of Rohingya refugees risking their lives on dangerous voyages has skyrocketed. Nevertheless, the Myanmar military junta, which seized power through a coup, continues to deny the Rohingya genocide and evade accountability. It has also failed to provide Rohingya refugees with guaranteed citizenship and safe return. The testimonies of survivors and the evidence that has surfaced clearly demonstrate that the Myanmar junta is responsible for this crime against humanity. The safe and dignified return of Rohingya refugees is not possible without the resignation of the Myanmar military junta. The military must immediately hand over power and ensure citizenship and a safe and dignified return for the Rohingya. The international community must accelerate efforts to investigate the truth of the 2017 Rohingya genocide, criminally persecute perpetrators, and provide redress for the victims. At the same time, it must take strong measures to prevent further atrocities against the Rohingya by the Myanmar military junta and the Arakan army, including an immediate cessation of the civil war and investigation and prosecution regarding attacks on civilians and genocide against the Rohingya. Additionally, every effort must be made to secure the necessary resources to continue humanitarian assistance for Rohingya refugees. The South Korean government must also respond to the Rohingya humanitarian crisis more responsibly. We are deeply concerned about the government's irresponsible behavior in the aftermath of the Rohingya genocide, including its de facto acquiescence to South Korean companies seeking profit from joint ventures with war criminals. The government should reflect deeply on the situation and prevent recurrence by taking thorough measures, including sanctions and withdrawals, to ensure that future South Korean investments in Myanmar are not linked to military-run enterprises or human rights violations against the Rohingya. In addition, it should expand support for Rohingya refugees and actively empathize with and stand in solidarity with their suffering. On the 7th anniversary of the Rohingya genocide, South Korean civil society commemorates the victims of the genocide and refuses to turn a blind eye to the ongoing crime against humanity perpetrated by the military junta. and the Arakan Army against the Rohingya. We pledge to continue to stand in solidarity until the human rights We pledge to continue to stand in solidarity until the human rights of Rohingya and democracy are restored in Myanmar. And we demand the following actions from the Myanmar junta, the international community, and the South Korean government. The Myanmar military junta must acknowledge responsibility for the Rohingya genocide and immediately step down from power. The Myanmar military junta must take all necessary measures to ensure the safe return with guaranteed citizenship and resettlement of Rohingya refugees. The international community must accelerate efforts to investigate the truth, criminally prosecute perpetrators, and provide redress to victims, while taking strong measures to end the civil war, call all attacks on civilians, and investigate and prosecute the perpetrators of genocide by the Arakan Army. The international community must guarantee humanitarian aid, including food and medical assistance, to Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh camps and Rakhine State. The South Korean government must take through actions against South Korean companies collaborating with the Myanmar junta and actively expand support for the Rohingya humanitarian crisis. Thank you.